They like to say better late than never. I'm not exactly sure if that's the case, but when you're living with a disease that wants to put you 6 feet under, there are some weeks that it definitely kicks your rear end, and this has certainly been the case of late. So, this is finally your Saturday video report. And since most of my, in fact, all of my selections are your later day college bowl plays, here's the Saturday video report. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here, General Manager, DeMarcoSports.com. As you know, it has been one hell of a football season, both college and pro. And today, for me personally, I am going for the juggler once again because when the College Bowl matchups were announced, including the playoff games, there was one game that was whispering, bet me, bet me, bet me in my ear. And I know many of you get a chuckle out of that. But over the years, as I've said, more often than not, when I listen to those little whispers in my head, most people either think I'm crazy, but that's okay because they have often paid dividends. And for me today, that is the Alamo Bowl game between Colorado and BYU. And it is going to be the 39th ever 30 dime release of my career, which means it matches the biggest play of my career, period. And as you know, in 23 years, this is only the 39th ever 30 dime college football play that I've had. That's how rare they are. And I hit number 38 with Notre Dame over Army back on November 23rd. I hit number 37 a week earlier with Colorado by 25 over Utah, laying 13 and a half. And I hit number 36 a week prior to that one on November 9th when Texas, a 21 and a half point favorite, rolled over Florida by 32. In fact, I am 4-1 with the plays this year, 5 out of 6 dating back to last season, and I'm doing it once more. And just like all the other ones, this one, the Alamo Bowl lock at 7:30 Eastern Time between Colorado and BYU, is going to be the half price play of the day simply by using coupon code HALF, HALF, as I go for football winner number 25 out of 36 overall. So that's what I've got. Oh, by the way, it's also Saturday best bet winner number 13 out of 17 this college football season. That's how good of a season it has been. And now would be an opportune time to tell you if you have not yet taken advantage of the 2 day free trial over at DeMarcoSports.com, why not? It's free. You'll get my play and all the plays of all the handicappers for free today with no strings attached. The normal purchase price is $119. You get it for free and you get to pick the next day. Maybe it's tomorrow for free over at DeMarcoSports.com, the 2 day free all access pass. As I always say, guys, I can't oversell the word free because it's a good 4 letter word. And again, you get all the plays of all the handicappers for free. If you have any questions, just contact customer service and they will answer them for you. Now, in terms of these plays, and keep in mind, not only am I going for Saturday best bet winner number 13 out of 17 over at DeMarcoSports.com, but here on the video report, I'm 12-5 with my top Saturday college football plays this season. As I like to jokingly say, the best of the worst. And today, I think the top play would be in the Arizona Bowl in Tucson at 4:30 Eastern Time, where I don't understand how Colorado State is a 2.5 point underdog against Miami of Ohio. And the reason is this: Miami of Ohio was the defending champion going into the Mid American Conference Championship game against Ohio at Ford Field in Detroit. And they had won 7 straight games, and they had beaten Ohio 30-20 in the regular season. They took a 3-0 lead, and then Ohio won the game 38-3, and they dominated the game. I mean, outgained them by almost 300 some yards, ran for over 200 yards on them. I mean, you talk about a dominant performance on both sides of the line of scrimmage. That was Ohio in that contest. It was a one-sided affair. Well, that was the Super Bowl for Miami of Ohio to be a 2 time defending champion in your conference. I just wonder how much the Red Hawks are going to be up for this game in Tucson against Colorado State. A Colorado State team that finished the season on a 6-1 roll. A Colorado State team that finished tied for UNLV for second in the Mountain West Conference, but because of the tiebreakers, it was UNLV that was playing Boise State for the Mountain West Conference championship. Colorado State, and by the way, Mountain West Conference, Mid American Conference. In terms of the power of the conferences, I don't think there's any comparison. So I like Colorado State here. And I think the biggest metric that stood out to me is that Colorado State is going to be able to run the ball on that same Miami of Ohio defense that was shredded on the ground by the Bobcats because Colorado State has two running backs, Avery Morrow, 956 yards, 5.8 yards per carry, and Justin Marshall, 662 yards and 4.6 yards per carry, who should be able to dominate on the ground and control the clock for the Rams. Now, both teams have had some significant portal departures, but I think Miami of Ohio, a team that has a 6-year senior and Blaine Gabbert starting at quarterback, suffered worse because two of his top three receivers left, and those guys combined for almost 100 receptions this year. So again, they're getting 2.5 points, they being Colorado State. I think they're going to win the game outright, but as insurance, I'm buying up from 2.5 to 3 points with the Rams. Your next game is the Military Bowl in Annapolis. It goes at 5:40 Eastern Time, 5:45 Eastern Time. East Carolina is a 7 to 7.5 point favorite. Again, if it's 7, I'm buying up to 7.5 with the Pirates. A team that once they fired their head coach, Mike Houston, and installed Blake Harrell, the linebackers and defensive coordinator, as interim coach, they turned it around. First 4 games as interim coach, they beat Temple, Florida Atlantic, Tulsa, and North Texas. Okay, we're not talking murderers roll here, but they scored 183 points in the process and opened up their offense, which is what East Carolina has always been known for, and became bowl eligible in the process. Did lose their season finale against Navy after Blake Harrell had been named full-time coach, but still, nice finish by the Pirates, 4-1. And it was really due to the installation of Katon Hauser as quarterback, who was the former Michigan transfer in those final games, uh, where that final 5-game stretch where they went 4-1. The Pirates averaged a little over 40 points a game, and Hauser had 15 touchdown passes in that stretch. So, I'm looking at an East Carolina team that finished on an upswing, and I'm looking at an NC State team that was lucky to become bowl eligible. They had to beat North Carolina, a team in disarray, in their season finale just to get to 6-6. They've got a quarterback who's a freshman who played okay, CJ Bailey, 14 touchdown passes, I think 9 interceptions, but they've got an offense that scores 31 points a game. They've got a defense that gives up, I think, almost 32 points a game. And you're telling me NC State, just because they're from the ACC, is a 7.5 point favorite? If you haven't noticed, the AAC, Navy outright over Oklahoma yesterday, right? The AAC, with the exception of Tulane, has done exceptionally well in the postseason so far. So I think it was 4-1 so far, straight up. So I like East Carolina. I think it's going to be a close game. So East Carolina is going to be my play there. And finally, speaking of the AAC, you got Army, 2 touchdown favorite in the Independence Bowl against LA Tech. LA Tech only got into the bowl because at 5-6, they were given the position because of their location and because Marshall backed out. Now, the academies, after Navy's win yesterday, over the past few years in postseason play are 16-3 straight up and against the spread, because they don't lose a lot of personnel and they're very disciplined. And Army, of course, lost 2 games this year to Notre Dame and Navy. Again, nothing to be embarrassed about there. I think that Army, they did suffer one, however, significant transfer. Their top running back did transfer to Arizona State because he was a sophomore, and you can leave the academy after your before you turn to a junior. But this is an Army team with their triple option attack. I don't see how Louisiana Tech, in less than a couple of weeks, is going to be able to game plan for that. Nobody is able to do that. And I think Army, with that ball control offense, they're going to extend the drives. They're not going to be have many possessions in this game. I'm surprised Army is not favored more in this game. And I think Army has a second chance for redemption here after that flub against Navy. I like Army in this game. So again, ranking the plays. Number one would be Colorado State. Number two, East Carolina. Number three, Army. And that'll do it, guys. And I wish you well.